Hi, this is Kata Welch coming to you from the Cavendish Fletcher Community Library, and I'm really excited to show off our new renovations to you. Thanks to Chris Chadwick, who did the work for free. Thank you, Chris. We have removed our rather large circulation desk, and as you can see, we've replaced it with a dynamic open area that we plan to use for, among other things, preschool story time. We've also put in privacy carols to make our computer use a little bit more private. And we have a special area for kids to use computers. So, really excited about this. And I hope you come by and see it in person. It's March, so I want to talk to you folks about a few things we have coming up in the library. The first one is Dinner and a Movie. So if you're watching this, you probably missed our Game of Thrones one on the 1st. If you didn't, it was great seeing you there. And on the 29th, we're going to be showing the movie Knives Out. Similar to Murder on the Orient Express, it's a cast of many stars, and it's a mystery to solve. And the food is going to remain a mystery until you show up, but I guarantee it's going to be fabulous. So we're also having a crafternoon, which is where you get together and it's for adults to make things with their hands. In mid-March, we're having that at DG Body Works, and I believe the items we're making are felted dryer balls. There is some kind of a macrame project and some kind of paper project. Dawn is in charge of that, so you know she has a lot more detail and a lot more artistic talent than I do. I have to say, if I do have a talent besides cooking, it is reading and enjoying books. And this month I have been really into the Titanic. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a Titanic fiend anyway. Anything about the Titanic, I have to get it. Well, we have a new book in the library that I've been reading, and one thing it talks about are the different theories around the Titanic. And me being me, I had to go on and dig up and find out a little information on it. So I think you have all seen this movie. It's on TV all the time. Of course, we have it in the library. We've had 2 Dinner and a Movies based on it. And you all know that Jack dies in the end, right? He saves Rose, but he dies in the end. Well, there's this theory out there that all the movies that Leonardo DiCaprio made after this are alternate parallel lives that Jack could have lived. So The Great Gatsby, the idea is that Jack was saved, but Rose was so turned off by the idea of him being a corporate mucky-muck that she never reached out to him, and so he ended up trying to get Daisy to fall in love with him. So that's one. Or that he was a con man in Catch Me If You Can. So it's kind of interesting to rewatch some of these DiCaprio movies and look at it through the lens of, what if that is Jack? So speaking of Titanic, we have some really interesting books on her. You know, we have the straight old, this is the history, but I like micro histories. So this one is about J. Bruce Ismay. He's the man who built the Titanic, and he got a lot of notoriety because he jumped into the last lifeboat and he dared to survive. And this is how that impacted his life and the impact of the press on him at the time. Gilded Lives, Fatal Voyages. This is about the first-class passengers who survived the Titanic. There was one who was a movie star. Her name was Dorothy Gibson, and she actually made the first movie of the Titanic after it. She had a really interesting life. She married a boxer. She ended up in a concentration camp during World War II, and just her story is enough to make you want to read this book. This one, Farewell Titanic, by Charles Pellegrino. Charles Pellegrino is a very controversial author. He got into some trouble for kind of sort of faking sources on one of his books. I hope that's not the case here. And his wife disappeared. But he puts things together interestingly and he makes connections that I know I never would have seen. So I'm going to tell you that these Titanic books are, the tip of the iceberg. For some strange reason, we have a lot of books on her. Couldn't tell you why, but if you like her as much as I do, you've got a treasure trove to look into. So I'm really, really excited to tell you about this author. and this particular audiobook. David Rosenfeld has become my favorite author, and he lives in Maine, and he is a dog lover. And you know I'm a dog lover, so any book that he does features some dogs in it somewhere. And he has this character named Andy Carpenter, who's a lawyer, and he's very funny. My husband says that Andy Carpenter is him. I'm working with Mr. Rosenfeld to come to the library in May, and this is big whoop, folks, because he doesn't tour very often. We're going to be teaming with the Lucy Mackenzie Humane Society for a fundraiser to bring him here. So stay tuned to hear this, and you're going to want to see him. I love him. Come check out one of the books or audiobooks, see for yourself. I will get you hooked. And so the last thing I want to talk to you about is a couple of biopic movies, both of which are really good and a little bit disturbing. And sometimes it's okay. Renee Zellweger just won the Academy Award for this movie, and I thought this movie was terrific. I thought her portrayal was wonderful. Judy Garland was a really complex woman, and I think Renee did a great job of showing her at her highs and her lows. Judy had a sad life, but she was so talented, and Renee portrays the pain that she felt and the highs and the lows, and really watch this movie. This one, Man on the Moon, is an older movie, and again, Andy Kaufman was a very complex person, and he never really knew if he was performing or if he was being himself. I don't know if he ever knew it either. But this is a wonderful performance by Jim Carrey. So this is Kata Welch, and I hope that you come visit me in the library soon. Have a great day.